Welcome to Classical 95.9 WCRI's Conducting Conversations with your host, Mike Mano. 1 hour of music and conversation with notable people in the arts, bringing you the stories of how music has impacted their lives. The show will give a behind-the-scenes look at the guest's background, interests, or special project.
Conducting Conversations is brought to you by Roberts Musical Instruments. From sheet music and brand name instruments to rentals, repairs, lessons, and more. Roberts Musical Instruments is your key to musical success. Call 823-5459. That's 823-5459.
And now here's your host, Mike Mano.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conducting Conversations. Tonight it's a pleasure to welcome back to our studios a man that's been missing for a long time from WCRI. We just figured out it's been about, probably 14 or 15 years. Sebastian Ruth is here, and if that name is familiar to you, it's because he is the founder and artistic director of Community Music Works in Providence. They've been in the news a lot, and we're going to find out everything we want to know about Sebastian, his co-workers, and the new building that's coming up. Welcome, Sebastian. Nice to have you back with us.
It's great to be here, Mike.
Remember how long ago it was? You were just a wee lad.
I know, it's been a while. It's nice to be back.
I think we determined off the air that we had first met each other when you were right out of college, I believe, right? Back in the 90s?
Yep, I think in 97,
Yeah.
when I did my senior recital from college at the Music Mansion.
There you go, 1997. And back then, who knew that you would become one of the most influential music people in Rhode Island? But there you are, and it's happened. And been in the news a lot, as I mentioned, because of a new building that the Community Music Works has started. And originally, let's go back in time when you, 1997, you got started with the program. It was basically you, right? And how did that work?
Yeah, that's right. So the first year, the program was just an artist residency, just for me to live, work, teach, and perform in collaboration with students and families in the West End of Providence. But the vision was always to have an ensemble, in residence, string quartet at first, so that we were, making a presence as a quartet in the neighborhood where kids could walk by and see what we were doing, get excited, come in, and in a way apprentice with us, learn alongside us.
Now, you say on the west side of Providence, specifically what village or what part?
Yeah, so eventually we rented a storefront right on Westminster Street in the West End, in the Armory District there. And a lot of our work in the beginning was with the West End Community Center, which is just down the street there. Working with young people from 1st through 12th grade, doing free music instruction in the string instruments, violin, viola, cello.
And this was in conjunction with the Philharmonic at that point in time, or not exactly?
Not in conjunction with Philharmonic, although they were always very supportive and would give us tickets to concerts so we could bring our students to see the Philharmonic. We would bring our students up to Boston to see concerts, and the Rhode Island Chamber Music concerts, Rhode Island College, anywhere we could bring our students to take in classical string music and fall in love with it. That was a big part of things early on. Excellent.
And the organization has grown to this point, to new building. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so for the 28 years, the program was really ad hoc in different spaces, very intentionally that way. We would show up where students were, so in after-school community centers or in after-school programs at schools. And we loved that idea that you didn't have to leave your neighborhood or leave your home base to access this kind of music. It has a stereotype of being for people only who can afford it. And we were trying to kind of turn the whole thing on its head a little and say, actually, the music making can be very exciting and lively and relevant to people's lives. And it wasn't about going into some other context. So we loved being able to just do violin
Right.
in the corner of the community center and stuff. But at the same time, we were also finding the limits of that, and wanting to be able to bring all the aspects together, the professional musicians, the students, families, and be open to the community. And so for the last 7 or 8 years, we've been working on building a purpose-built music education and performance center, and it's just opened in September.
And is located at?
It is located at 1326 Westminster Street in Providence.
So back in the old neighborhood.
Right in the old neighborhood. It's only about 3 doors down from our storefront, right at the corner of Westminster Street and Dexter Street, right near the Armory, the Cranston Street Armory there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an incredible space. It's an
Wow.
incredible space. It has a cafe when you first walk in, so eventually that will be open to the public. Right now it's a spot for families and students to wait and do homework and form community together. We have a beautiful 120-seat performance space, also on the ground level, that's actually visible from the street. So again, like breaking down the barriers that make it seem like classical music is far removed. Anybody walking by can see what's happening on stage. And 8 teaching and learning and rehearsing spaces upstairs, and in the lower level, 11 practice rooms, and a shop for a luthier, which is somebody who repairs violins, and a multimedia sound lab. So all of this going on in this bustling new center that's open to the community.
Excellent. Well, there's lots more to talk about, but you've also brought a lot of music for our listeners tonight. Tell us about this first piece. It's a little bit lengthy, so the program, for those of you that listen all the time, will be split up a little bit differently tonight. We'll still have 3 segments, but this one's going to be a little bit longer. Tell us about this piece.
Yeah, so now at this point, our musicians and residents number into the teens. So we have about 13 or 14 musicians and residents. And what that means is we can play the beautiful repertoire of the string orchestra. So this one is a piece by Manuel Ponce from about 100 years ago, early 20th century Mexican composer. And the piece is called Estampas Nocturnas, which means postcards of the night. So each of the movements depicts a different quality of night scenes. And it's very evocative. It's maybe you would say kind of late romantic. We found it incredibly beautiful, and it was from a recent live performance just about a year before we moved into the new building.
Excellent. We'll listen to that, then take a short break and be back with much more. Community Music Works is the subject of tonight's Conducting Conversations. I'm Mike Mano, very pleased to be sitting with the founder and artistic director of the program. Sebastian Ruth is here. We've been talking about the new building that's gone up on Westminster Street, been open for a few months now. And if you have an opportunity, you can go online to Community Music Works and make a donation, right? Can they do that?
That's true. That's true.
What's the website address?
The website is communitymusicworks.org.
That's a tough one to remember.
And and donations help support free music education programs for young people in the south side of West End of Providence, and also support a whole season worth of mostly free live performances.
You don't make a lot of money having a free concert.
This is true.
I know you're a musician and not a businessman, but you get it. So that's why it takes donations and it takes support from state organizations and federal government, right?
It does. It does. And it's of course important for musicians to make a living, and so we actually have a model where our musicians are paid on salary to be performers and educators. But we also think music is an important resource, like a public school or a public library, so that it shouldn't have a high cost to entry. And so we rely on donations to make all this possible.
Excellent. All right. So go there. Facebook page, I'm sure, right?
Facebook and Instagram, Community Music Works. Yeah.
You can find Community Works wherever you'd like, and we encourage you to support this program. Sebastian has brought a lot of music with him today. And the last piece we heard was obviously a live piece. We heard the applause at the end, a standing ovation, I'm sure. And in your new music space, which you can seat over 100 people, right?
Yeah, the new performance hall has capacity for about 130.
Wow.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful space to hear music.
Excellent.
Designed to be an acoustic gem, really.
And upcoming concerts or performances are on the website?
They are. I can highlight a couple.
Sure.
So on February 13th, we have the second part in our what we call Sonata series, which features individual members of our collective. So I'll actually be performing on that one, some works for viola and piano.
So that sounds like a perfect opportunity for a Valentine present. Bring your loved one.
There you go.
And come and enjoy the music.
There you go. It's works for viola and piano by a number of different composers, and my colleague Walter Muehling and another colleague Ivan Tan are performing on that one. The following week, on the 22nd of February, we have a really neat concert featuring the Amy Beach Piano Quintet, so string quartet with piano, and this is a real masterpiece of the 20th century that not everybody knows. So that's a great opportunity to hear that. That concert will also feature our students playing side by side with their teachers in some chamber music performances, which should be great. It's an annual concert that raises money to send our students off to summer music programs on scholarship. And then on March 15th, we have a wonderful group called the Isadora String Quartet coming to Rhode Island. This is a young string quartet that has been winning all of the major competitions and awards, Avery Fisher and the Banff String Quartet competition, among others. And so they're on a big tour, but are coming by to visit Community Music Works and play a program. They'll also be joined by 4 of our musicians to play the very spirited Mendelssohn Octet for 8 strings at the end of that show. So March 15th is another great one to check out.
So bottom line, check the website, get all these dates, and get out and support the organization. What do you have next for us musically?
So I want to keep it in the spirit of the last piece, which was called Estampas Nocturnas, like postcards of the night. This one is called Estampas Mexicanas, by a young composer named Jose Elizondo, and living composer. And this is a string quartet. As you'll hear, there's a great deal of spirit, and at one point, listen out, there's even the viola player has to play the gong.
Okay, we'll listen to that, take a short break, and be back with more. Community Music Works, the subject of tonight's Conducting Conversations. I'm Mike Mano, sitting with Sebastian Ruth. Sebastian is the founder and artistic director. We talked a little bit in the last segment about the fact that we'd like you to get out and support this group at their new building on Westminster Street in Providence. But Sebastian, there's other ways for your organization to get some support. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we've always enjoyed support from the Rhode Island State Council on the Arts, which is keeps the arts and culture community well supported. And it's important actually to speak with your state legislators and make sure they know the importance of the arts in our communities, and goes far beyond entertainment. You know, the educational value, the community value, the economic value of the arts is such a big part of what makes Rhode Island great. So, yeah, just encourage people to make sure you speak to your legislature.
There you go. You got to keep the funds flowing.
Yeah.
And you and I are both fortunate in that in our careers we've met a lot of young people that have been inspired by music. And I know that in my case, it's always thrilling to find somebody that says, "Oh, I heard your group a long time ago. It inspired me to do this and that." And I'm sure you get that all the time from your students.
Yeah, well, it's one of the great things, having been around now for 28 years, is that our alums are coming back and working with us. And in some of these performances that we're hearing tonight, there's some of our alums performing with us. So that's a big thrill. And then they're inspiring their next generation of young people to get excited about music and make it theirs.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming in tonight. We appreciate you bringing the music and the information to us. And our audience, I'm sure, will be able to come out and help support Community Music Works. We have one more piece of music. In that last segment, we played just the first movement of the part that you wanted us to hear, and now we're going to play the second. Is that correct?
Maybe we'll hear the last movement.
Okay, let's
go with
that.
The final movement of the Jose Elizondo Estampas Mexicanas. Yeah.
All right. Thanks again, Sebastian. Appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, Mike.
And the rest of you, we'll see you next time on Conducting Conversations. Conducting Conversations was brought to you by Roberts Musical Instruments, using music and the arts to keep your child educated, entertained, and having fun. Roberts Musical Instruments is your key to musical success. Call 823-5459. That's 823-5459.